Smashed it. Welcome to Bubba's Honda Repair over here, boys. She's admiring my new facial hair. It looks hideous, but she loves it. Oh boy. So we're back from our trip, and today I'm going to start working on Eric's CRV. I had posted a video of this thing previously when I was doing some work to it, getting it ready for the swap. But now we're ready to move forward with the swap. I think I've got everything to do it. And so we're gonna be putting a K24 K20 in it. So it's got a K24A bottom end with a K20 Z3 head. And then we're gonna be putting a 6-speed gear set from an 8th Gen SI in the transmission, a WaveTrack LSD, new carbon synchros, K-tune shift cables. It's gonna have K-Pro. It's got a little Turbonetics turbo on it. So there's a lot of goodies going on this car. And so now I guess we're gonna actually get started on it. So the next few videos will be about this CRV and our progress on it. So right now it's just a stock CRV, manual transmission, 5-speed. See, 5-speed, just stock, right? So we've got, like I said, we got the motor for it here. I've shown this on here previously. I got to put all the sensors and stuff back on it. Got all that stuff off, but this is a little Turbonetics turbo. And I got to go pick up the oil pan. This is Sunday, so my buddy has the oil pan. I'm probably gonna pick that up on Tuesday. I've got the 6-speed SI transmission right here. And we're gonna take the gear set out of that transmission and put in this transmission. So also we've got a good bit of the parts here. All the turbo or all the intercooler piping. There's an intercooler down there. It's Go Auto Works. We got a clutch master flywheel. There's looks like an AWD clutch right here. The WaveTrack LSD. K-Pro's in here somewhere. Yeah, they're there. So I guess we're gonna get started with that. It's an AWD love story. Oh yeah, I put it right there. Oh yeah. All right, so what we're gonna do now is I got it on the lift. We just unloaded this Integra that Cody bought. We're gonna case swap this one after this CRV gets done. But what I'm gonna do right now is put it up on the lift and go ahead and drop the subframe out, get everything on the bottom side loose, so that we can drop this whole swap out the bottom. I don't ever pull these motors out the top. I always take them out of the bottom. It's just so much simpler. So I guess I'm just gonna put on time lapse while I get started with this. Alright, so I got the subframe out. It's pretty straightforward getting that out. You just got to take the brake caliper off, take the ABS sensor loose. It's got 3 14mm bolts from the bottom that holds the rear mount, and the front mount just has a 17mm bolt here, and then the 2, on each side that holds the spindle to the shock. Take the axle out. It really, I mean, I could probably have this out in 15-20 minutes, something like that. So you can see here, like that's where the 3 14mm bolts go, and the 17 is here through this mount. The ABS sensor just connects here, and I just take the caliper off and kind of lay it up here out of the way. But As you see, I am using a lift in here, but don't let that get you discouraged if you're trying to do this in your garage. I did this, you know, Honda repair and all this stuff on a gravel driveway, very similar to what we have here, but up in front of my house. I have a little single car garage up there that's too small to put a car in, but it you know, I did motor swaps and stuff in the gravel up there for years, you know, and then I was able to afford buying my shop. And I didn't build the shop new. I bought the shop off Facebook Marketplace. It was laying in somebody's yard, you know. I just went down there and got it, and I worked my way to where I'm at. That's what I'm trying to say. You know, I mean, I was in the shop for probably about 3 years before I put this lift in here, maybe even closer to 4 years or something. So I mean, I you know, I've done my time on the dirt and stuff, and you can do it too. So don't get discouraged if you think, oh well, I can't do that without a lift. Yes, you can. It's just quicker and simpler with a lift. So now I'm gonna work on getting some more of the stuff on the bottom side disconnected. Also, I'm sorry if my fan's making too much noise. This humidity here in Alabama it's rough. You know, especially coming back from being on a vacation to like Colorado and Wyoming and all those places that have no humidity, and then coming here, man, it's rough. So on the bottom side, really what we got to do is disconnect the converter. This is the aftermarket converter because someone has stolen the one off this one previously at some point. We've got to disconnect the drive shaft. Probably go ahead and take these two AC bolts out of the compressor, or the 2 bolts out of the compressor here. I may go ahead and take this little girdle off the bottom here, just so that I don't have to do it once I get the motor and transmission out. And it really looks like about it down here. The rest of it we'll do from the top. Alright, so now we're gonna get started on pulling everything off the top, and just put the camera back on some time lapse while I'm getting all this stuff out. I mean, if you're interested in doing this, hopefully you have a little bit of mechanical knowledge and you can kind of figure out how to take most of this stuff out. It's just some hoses back here. You gotta take the power steering out, probably take the alternator loose, and then you get the rest of the AC compressor off, all the battery stuff out, air box. Pretty straightforward, really. All right, so my grandpa stopped by and visited for a little bit, and I sat there and talked to him, and then Justin dropped off the motor for an Element. And so now getting back to this, not really a lot left up here. I've got to finish taking the shift cables off, taking the radiator hose loose here, maybe a little bit of wiring. Gotta get like the AC compressor disconnected from the block, get the rest of the accessories off, the alternator and the power steering pump, and and I gotta get the wiring harness out of it. That should be pretty much the rest of it. Yeah, it's just I may have to take out the radiator to get the AC compressor loose. I don't really remember. It's been a while since I've done one of these.
Check the radar and make sure these ones coming through. Because you got the race car out, and I just didn't want to get nail damage.
Yeah.
Not all of them are going to have it, but it's going to be scattered. There's going to be a way.
Alright, so I guess it does look like I need to take the radiator out to be able to get to those.
Water down here?
Water?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's refrigerator full. So I guess right now I'm going to take this radiator out, so I just got to take these clips out of this up here to be able to take this plate out, and then we can get the radiator. So once we get it out, it'll give us room to unbolt all this stuff up here. So put it back on time lapse and see if we can get this stuff done. something. Alrighty. So we got the motor out. Now I've got to start taking some of this stuff off and putting on the K24, K20 is over there. Stuff like the alternator, the power steering pump, the AC bracket, the water pump housing, because that motor over there had the JDM water pump housing, which is different than the USDM. So I've got to take all this stuff off of this one, the post mount, and then transfer all this over to that motor over there. And I may have to do the crank pulley. I'm not really sure. Some of the crank pulleys are different sizes, so if you need to do the crank pulley, then I suggest the Lyle weighted socket. It looks like this, and use that in conjunction with a 1/2-inch Milwaukee impact or any other impact really. It takes it off easily. I'll put a link in the description for this, for an Amazon link for that in the description. So if you want to purchase one of those, you can go down to the link in the description and purchase that. I think it's about 30 bucks, but it's well worth its weight in gold. So you won't regret having it if you do Honda motors and stuff on the regular. So I guess I'm gonna get to pulling this stuff off. I think also I have to maybe pull off the throttle body and swap it over here too. I'm not sure if that throttle body bolts right on, or if I have to buy an adapter. I'm not sure yet. But anyways, let me get to pulling some of this stuff off and getting it transferred over to this motor. All right, so this is the original water pump housing from the CRV, because the JDM water pump housing is different than the USDM, and the USDM water pump won't fit onto the JDM housing, and also the USDM alternator won't fit on the JDM housing. So we switch over to the the original USDM housing, and then I've got a new water pump from Honda to put on here. I'm just going to clean up this mating surface a little bit more, and then I'm going to get that mounted on there. I've also got to take over the post mount from that engine and put it on here, because the TSX post mount is different than the CRV. And let's see what else we got to do. I've got this rubber hose hooked up here, the heater core bypass or whatever, or the heater bypass or whatever, coolant bypass line. I got that on there. I've still got to put the steel line, the original one from the K24A, the Japanese one, because it's like the equivalent of the TSX. So the heater outlet hoses are different than the like the K24 or the K24A1 or the PRB head. So the coolant outlet is here on the side of the head rather than the front of the head. This is a K20Z3 head, but it's the same as like the TSX, having the outlet on the side over here. So let's see where that goes. I think it goes like that. So anyways, I got to put that this water pipe here on, but it'll go on after to get it off the stand, because it's getting in the way of the engine stand there. So I'll wait on getting that pipe onto here right now. But I do have the new water pump and stuff somewhere. It's in one of these boxes. Too much junk laying around. Nope, here, I think it's in this box. This guy. Yeah, there we go. New water pump. Straight from the Honda resource. I have an account at my local Honda dealer. So, got that. Let's see what else we got in here for this. New valve cover gasket. VTEC gasket. Cool. There's some other stuff I had. No, we're making a mess. Coolant was coming out of the radiator sitting over here. Got a new intake manifold gasket, but we're not going to use it because I didn't take the intake manifold off of that head. Let's see. Some other detents I had bought. That's a 6-speed shift selector. Got to modify the selector, the shift selector in that transmission. We'll get to that though. To be a 6-speed. And then more detent stuff. Detent. New thermostat. So we're gonna put that on there. Let's back here. Let's see. It's a new O2 sensor. Alright, so I think that's all we gotta get out right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this water pump on and the thermostat. And then I'm gonna change that VTEC solenoid gasket too, because I got that. But I'm making a little bit of progress. So let's get to it. Also, I'm gonna put in the CRV crank sensor. Because the CRV crank sensor is different than the TSX, so I'm gonna put that in there too, and hopefully be able to get it set up. Or we put this joint in it, start right up. We'll see. Gazing far into the night, I raise my hand to the fire, but it's no use, 'cause you can't stop it from shining through. It's true. Alright, so I've got the alternator swapped over, the new water pump. See there. Got the power steering pump mounted. New thermostat mounted. Got the knock sensor moved over. Looking pretty good. I went ahead and pulled the transmission off of the engine. I'm going to be going through this transmission in another video, so be looking out for that. And then this motor, I think I've about got pretty much everything off of it that I'm going to be needing for the new motor. Again, I may have to swap the crank pulley. I'm not really sure just yet, but I'll look into that and update you if I do. So, I guess right now,
quit being so bossy.
So I guess right now, these minions over here just having their best life. Hey, be careful on that.
You trying to give mommy a heart attack?
What is that?
There's a camera. Say hey.
Say
you gonna say hey? Say hey. You gonna say hey?
What is this?
Say hey.
Hey, that's a body anyway. Is a body?
Say cheese.
Did you even told us that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, why did you that mommy that video?
Cause.
Video.
So anyways, I think I've about to get everything off of this motor, like I was saying, that I need to put on that one. With the exception of a few sensors, like the crank sensor that I'm going to swap over. And I'll probably go ahead and swap the cam position sensors too, since they're not on this head. Oh, and the ECT sensor, because that one's broken. So I'll get all this stuff swapped over. Also need to take off this half shaft that I've just got dummied on there right now. I was going to say I don't even remember why it's on there, but I actually do remember why it's on there. And it was because when I was trying to figure out where to put my oil return, I want to make sure it wasn't going to interfere with the axle and stuff. So it's actually going to be right here, because I got the oil pan tapped here on the end. So that'll be coming whenever I get the oil pan back into my possession. So probably on Tuesday, and right now it's Sunday. I'm also going to make a new feed line. I'm going to do away with this braid line and actually do a hard line, like a steel line. Just go right here, tuck it next to the valve cover and come across and down into the T that will go in here, just because this thing's way too long. I mean, I can make this work, but it would just be, it's really too long. And I think the hard line would be a nice touch. So that's what I'm gonna do. This was like a -4 maybe. I don't know, we'll have to see. So anyways, I'm gonna, I guess maybe go ahead and get this engine off of the engine stand. That way I can mount the clutch and flywheel. We're not using this one. We're putting a new one in because, like I was showing you guys earlier, we got the Exetti clutch and there's a new Clutch Masters flywheel in the back. So get that out and swap it over and be on to the next part. Alright guys, so I guess that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. I do have all those sensors swapped over from this motor to that motor that I wanted to swap over, as far as like the crank sensor, the cam sensors. Then obviously I got the water pump stuff swapped over, the alternator, the power steering pump. I've even got the charge harness on here. I don't have the engine harness on it yet because I've got to do the valve cover gasket, and I don't want to put all the coils and stuff on before I do the valve cover gasket, obviously. But it's coming together, looking pretty good so far. And I'm just going to go ahead and wrap up this video just to keep the videos from being quite as long. I am going to do another video like doing the transmission stuff, putting the 8th gen SI gear set in it, the 6-speed gear set, and the WaveTrack LSD. And then we'll do another video like when I'm putting it all back into the car. And yeah, I guess so far it's looking pretty good. So yeah, just make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, check out the playlist on this CRV, and make sure you hit the bell for notifications so that you know each time I upload a video pertaining to the CRV and others. So again, thanks so much for checking out the channel. See you again soon. Peace.